Hey folks, welcome to Airtime Paintball, where people come to find all the information they need to get good deals on paintball stuff. So, it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I apologize for that. I haven't jumped ship. We all know that for different reasons, for different people, life's kind of crazy lately, and just like other life, real life, whatever, non-paintball life has kind of gotten in the way, but I'm not giving up, so thanks for sticking with me and watching some videos. I'm going to try to start doing a regular sort of, I don't know, I want to say like paintball this week kind of a thing, because there's not really enough interesting news to be literally every week, but sort of a regular feature that just talk about what's going on in paintball, whatever, answer some questions that I see come up on Facebook all the time. That's where I kind of haunt mostly, is Facebook, and there's like kind of a constant stream of questions, and the same ones get asked a lot. So I'm going to try to take some time as we go forward and answer some of those as I see them, get repeated, or lots of people are interested in a particular subject. So a lot has happened in recent paintball times. I keep looking over here, I've got a list over here of like things I wanted to like mention and talk about, people might be interested in. A couple of weeks ago, I guess probably 3 weeks ago now, the parent company of GI Sports, I think it might be called the Empire Group. I forget. Don't quote me on that. It's the whatever the parent company you never hear the name of GI Sports filed for bankruptcy, essentially saying GI Sports filed for bankruptcy, and they're not going under. There was a lot of speculation. Oh, they're gone now. No more Empire. That company, GI Sports, that's Tipman. Kingman, right, which is Spider, Empire, GI, of course. There's plenty of products that are actually branded GI Sports, are all under that umbrella, and there's a couple others as well. And they're not going under. They're reorganizing. They're in negotiations for a buyer that's probably going to restructure their debt. I mean, I'm not a super expert on how all that works. There was an excellent post actually on one of the Facebook groups where someone kind of broke down what typically happens when a company files bankruptcy in this manner, and why that might happen. And sort of the gist of it was that it's a matter of public record that there's quite a bit of debt. I believe the number was like 26 million, something like that. And when a company carries debt, there are often clauses in the loan agreement, if you will, that that are designed to protect the lender in the case of sort of a downhill trend or lack of performance on the company's part. For example, they may get a favorable interest rate and a reasonable debt service, meaning like the payment on the debt. As long as they maintain a certain amount of revenue quarterly, as far as doing business. So these are not specific terms. I'm just making examples, right? But then if they fall below those, then other terms will kick in. Sometimes the loan will become due all at once. Sometimes a big payment becomes due. Sometimes interest will increase, which kind of sounds counterintuitive, right? If the business isn't doing well, putting more burden on them is certainly not going to help them. But that's not the problem of the lender, and the lender is trying to make sure the business is a going concern and doing well, and that's one of the ways they protect themselves. So there's some speculation that something like that may have gone on, but the point is they filed bankruptcy. They're not going anywhere. They still exist. No more news on that. In one of these future videos, like I said, I'm sure we'll revisit that when we get more detail. But they're still operating. They didn't close. In fact, I was on the phone with tech support last week on a customer of mine's gun that I needed some help with, and it was the same guys. It was the same great help. No issues there. So, there's that. We found out, I guess, a month and a half ago, that even in these times of COVID, World Cup is happening. It's next weekend, and there's restrictions in place that, of course, are for the safety of everyone that's there. I would not recommend just heading there to spectate without making sure you understand the details of what the various schedules are, when you can do what, how much and what kind of spectating is allowed and that kind of thing, because there's definitely restrictions about that, and that may affect your desire to go or when you go or what you're planning on doing. So just because you know there's cup, don't just hightail it down there without getting some information first to make sure that it is what you think it is when you get there. I won't be going. It is my personal opinion that these kinds of large gatherings really shouldn't be happening until there's a widely distributed and effective vaccine. And I know that's become, unfortunately for all of us, that has somehow been manipulated into a political issue. And I'm not trying to make a political statement in any way. I'm just an older guy. I'm overweight. I'm diabetic. And I don't want to get COVID because I'm like the poster child for people who get really sick when they get it. So I take it seriously, and I hope that you will too, because I want you to be safe, not because I'm trying to make any kind of political statement in any way whatsoever. I just want us all to get past it so we can get back to full-on regular paintball tournaments, spectating, fun, all that stuff. And that's all I wanted to say about that. Another thing that happened in the last couple of weeks is Sportz has announced their new amp shocker. And I think I've mentioned in other videos, I am not a huge fan of that group of companies run by the Gardner brothers. And you're not going to see much in the way of Sportz or, well, that's old-time Sportz, Shocker Paintball or Lux or any of that stuff here on my channel. And someday maybe I'll get into the reasons why. But if you care about paintball, you should do some research, and maybe you'll agree, maybe you won't. But their latest gun, the amp shocker, is yet another in a long series of sort of, I don't know, we have no dignity as a company releases. And this one, the reason I'm saying that is the engine is in the amp shocker essentially is a gamma core. Now, PE did not, plus Planet Eclipse, they didn't patent the gamma core design. And that means that the design is in the public domain and free to be used. There's not a law being broken here. But without credit, there's no mention anywhere in Sportz literature about how this is such a great design that Planet Eclipse came up with that we decided to use it. They just did it. I mean, and there's pictures on the internet. You can search for them. In fact, I'll stick some in here. When they're disassembled side by side, I mean, they're like the same thing. They didn't even bother to repackage it to attempt to even make it look different. It's pretty disappointing. I mean, I feel like as a company, they have the resources to do their own engineering and design, and they have a history of being a highly motivated intellectual property protecting, this is ours and we invented it kind of company, and to just completely flip the other way and be like, oh yeah, well, you guys made this, we'll just take it. It's just kind of lame. It's not illegal, nothing like that. Rubs me the wrong way and is part of why I'm not a fan of the company. Okay, enough about that. The gun is getting great feedback from all over the place. Everybody who shoots it says that it's great. And certainly previous Shocker Paintball products have been very solid. XLS is very popular. I've played with one of those in the past, and it had a great shot. It was poppy and kind of tight feeling, and I enjoyed the gun just fine. And by all accounts, the amp shocker is an improvement kind of in every way. The ergonomics, I think, are roughly the same. They changed the trigger guard to make a little bit more room for your fingers underneath it. But as far as the way you hold it and the shape of the grips and such, it's the same, and lots of people like that. And I mean, you can't go wrong with the Gamma Core. I mean, my personal opinion is that the 170R is the best shot in paintball. I like it even better by a tiny bit, but I do like it a little better even than the Gamma Pro in the CS2. I just love the regular Gamma Core shot. You've heard me say in the past how the Vanquishes, I like a soft shot, and the Vanquishes have the very softest shot in paintball, and that's true. But when I put everything together about what I like about feel and just how guns feel in my hand as far as the shot quality, again, not performance, this is just like what I like a gun to feel like. I personally think the 170R is the absolute gold standard for shot quality in paintball. And it doesn't matter that it's a midline gun compared to a CS2. That's just how I feel about it, and it's just an opinion. That said, we can expect the amp shocker, to have a very similar shot feel to that gun, and there's definitely nothing wrong with that. So if you're a shocker guy, you should check one of those out for sure. And if people make enough noise among my legion of followers, and by legions I mean like a couple hundred of you, if enough people bug me about it, I'll do a review on one. I'm not trying to be like an ultra hater and like not give people the information they want. I'm just not a fan. So put comments below if you're interested in that. And I'm not entirely opposed to taking a look at it. So some things coming up on the channel. I have a lot. I mean, I haven't been here in like how long, right? Many weeks I haven't made a video. I've got a long list of videos to make. One of the things I'm going to be doing, you can see this box right here. This, I'm not going to pick it all the way up because you can see it has a bunch of stuff piled on top of it. This is a brand new Emeks in here, completely stock. I bought it new. It is, and before I forget, everything I'm mentioning here, all the parts, the gun itself, everything, I bought all this with my own money. None of this is given to me to review or got a deal on it because I put it on YouTube or anything like that. I bought all this stuff with my own money, and I will be making a video where I'm going to take this stock Emeks and I'm going to completely build it with all the aftermarket parts. And this isn't even all the parts. I think I'm going to do some other things with it as well. And I'm going to do it all in a video in real time to show folks. You can use it if you want to build your own Emeks. You can like pause it and like do what I'm doing. Or if you just want to watch it to get an idea of how hard or not it is. And it's not hard. I've only done 2. And I'm not an expert. I'm sure I'll bumble around and pick up the wrong tools or whatever. But my point is to demonstrate that anyone with even the tiniest amount of sort of mechanical sensibility you can build your own awesome Emeks. And when these things are built and hot rodded, they are awesome. And in fact, this is one I've been playing with right here. This is my personal Emeks, and you can see that it's been dripped Simon's Hydrographics. I'll give them a plug. Again, I paid for that with my own money. They did not do this for free, so it would be on a video. They don't know I'm putting this in a video. He does an amazing job. He did this body. He did a matching hopper for me, and I'm going to talk about hoppers in a second. And this one's got some got a hair valve in it. It's got these blue grips, which are really cool. A bunch of different parts on it, and the thing just like shoots lasers. It's so fun to shoot. You can shoot them super fast, and I'll be putting a video in there. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing is a Project Emeks video, and that's going to be super fun. Oh, and I meant to mention, you know what? I've been procrastinating. I've had all this stuff for weeks. So just last week, my favorite paintball guy, and I've mentioned this before, Brad at Paintball Ruined My Life, best paintball content. I've said this probably 50 times. If you like to watch paintball stuff on the internet, on YouTube, and you haven't ever seen Paintball Ruined My Life channel, you are missing out. Some of the best content there is. Awesome. Anyway, he just announced like a few days ago, like a week ago maybe, that he is building a Project Emeks as well. And that's totally fine. I hope he doesn't think I copied him because I didn't. But whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to be using a few different parts. I mean, there's some parts like the hair valve, for example. If you're not using a hair valve in an Emeks, it just isn't going to be the best Emeks you can build. So we're both doing that. But anyway, as his comes out, I don't know if he's going to have one video or a series, but I'll at least put a link to his channel down below this video, and that way you can see what I'm doing with my Emeks, and you can see what he does with his, and you can compare and contrast. You should totally watch his videos. They're awesome. And I think it's kind of cool that we're going to both have Emeks videos coming out near the same time, because if you're interested in that, that's just more information for you, like to see which parts are what and how they go together and what they look like and how they perform. So that's pretty cool. I just got this recently. This is a MacDev Prime XTS, and I will be doing a full review of this. I can tell you that I have only played with it a very small amount because, like I said, things have been in the way. I haven't exactly been Mr. Paintball in the last little bit, but I love to shoot it. It just feels great, and as far as ergos and I've said this before about MacDev guns, the build quality on these things is amazing. It's like they're like the Lexus of paintball or something. Like just every part, this cap just feels like luxury. I'm not trying to sound like Lux. I know that's why they named it that, but it just the parts fit together so well, and it just feels high end. Everything about it, like these cool eye covers are magnetic. They just pop off. Like, look how easy that is. But they're not going anywhere. I promise you. They're very sturdy as far as how they fit, how they're retained. I just accidentally popped the detent out. But there's a little tab here, and it just snaps on. They stay on. Super cool. So I'll be doing a review of this. You'll be able to get a look at that. It's a great gun. Another thing I wanted to bring up as far as what things are going on. Here, I bought 2 of these. Did a color swap. You can see the one on, where is it? I can't point right there. There it is. That's also a Victus. This is a Bob Long Victus, and these are guns that are several years old, but for whatever reason, Trade My Gun is a website. They sell new and used paintball stuff. So they somehow came up with a pile of new old stock Victus paintball guns, and the Victus is a GI labeled Bob Long Insight, essentially. Well, not essentially, it is. It's an Insight with different milling, but the milling is super cool. I think these things look awesome, but it's pretty neat, right? They don't have a ton of them left, but they do have some left. They're $475 on the site, and they're brand new. They don't say they're brand new. They say like new or something, because you're not going to get a warranty. I mean, let's face it, the things are like 6 or 7 years old, I think, and there's no warranty with them at all, but the price is great, $475, and they still have several colors left. They've sold through quite a few of them, and like I said, I bought 2 to do a color swap. But it's a pretty neat way to get a brand new and really interesting, and these are great guns. For not a huge pile of money. If you want something interesting that's just not the same old thing you see every day, or you've just wanted a Victus, and you don't come up used very often, really. People who have them typically like them, and there's not a ton of them. I wouldn't say they're collectible, but there's not like a million of these in the world. So anyway, yeah, check out Trade My Gun. And again, I bought these myself. This is not a plug that where they gave me guns and I'm reviewing them because they told me that they would give me a deal. Nothing like that. I just bought these, and I'm going to sell one of them and keep the other one. Probably going to sell that green one that's on the wall, but I haven't quite decided yet. But anyway, that's something that's interesting for you. If that is compelling to you, check out TradeMyGun.com. They're $475, and like I said, they got a handful of colors left. And I carefully inspected both of the ones I got, and my good friend Mark, he bought one as well. And the two of us on the 3 guns agreed, clearly new, no wear whatsoever in any way. They're new, so that's pretty cool. You will want to kind of take it apart and clean out old grease and relube and kind of go through it. I didn't have to put any new O-rings in either of them, but the grease was a little. It wasn't bad, frankly. It wasn't like it was crusty and gross and hard to clean or anything. But I took them apart and cleaned them up and put them back together like with a fresh maintenance kind of, and they just shoot lasers. They work great. Pretty neat. $475. So there's that. Another thing I'm going to have coming up is a hopper roundup, and I've got a bunch of different hoppers, including the new Pro Toys Speedster, which is a Planet Eclipse. I'm not sure if Planet Eclipse is going to have that Pro Toys as a brand, or maybe they did before and I missed it, but the brand is Pro Toys, and it's called a Speedster. It's like $65, and it's an entry-level hopper, but the thing is super tough. It's like tough as nails. You're just never going to break the thing. And it is kind of like a Revy in that it's not a force feed hopper, but just a really good, solid entry-level hopper. I got that. I'm going to have an example of a bunch of different hoppers that are common on the used market, and also some values that you can get new, and we're going to talk about all of them and just have like a rundown. There's lots of good hopper values in all kinds of different models. You don't just have to have a spire or a rotor or you have a crappy hopper. There's lots of good hoppers out there, and we're going to talk about that. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to have a barrel kit comparison. I've got a bunch of barrels here. I've got parabolic barrels. I've got a disruptive barrel kit. I've got my preferred method of putting together a kit. on a budget, which is to take a one-piece barrel and have it bored for freak inserts and use freak inserts. So we're going to compare all those, and I'm not talking about a big scientific, like burn 50 k's of paint to do a bunch of analysis. That's been done to death. The short story is, really, as long as you are not grossly out of sync with the size of your bore of the paint versus the barrel. In other words, if you're trying to put a ball that measures like 694 down a 675 bore, you're going to have trouble, right? Or the other way around. If you have a 675 ball and a 696 bore, you're going to have inconsistency, especially if your detents are worn. But if you're like if you're in the ballpark, really, pretty much barrels are barrels, and we're going to have a more detail when I have the that comparison. So that's another thing we've got coming up, and I think I pretty much covered that all for now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If there's other things you'd like to see, please do me a favor, and if you want to see me keep doing videos, I mean, I'm going to keep doing them, but if you would like the videos and subscribe and turn on a little notification thing so you know when new ones are coming out, it just helps the search ranking so people can find information if they want it. This is never going to become some kind of giant channel where, you know, tens of thousands of people are following or anything like that. I just like to get some new subscribers and some likes because that helps in the YouTube search. So if someone's trying to find information, they want to learn about an Emek, how to take it apart, how to soup up an Emek, or maybe they're thinking about buying an XTS and they just want to know about it, then they search, maybe they'll find my video and be able to get some good information. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll be seeing you soon.